By the end of this video, hopefully I will have given you 20 fresh ideas and inspiration all around the espresso martini. Simple riffs and flips that will impress your friends and family at a next party, or great additions to your cocktail menus that will put even more cash in your tills. Cocktail fans, welcome back to the Drinkstuff channel. We are your one-stop shop for all your cocktail needs, except for the booze. I'm Steve the Barman, and I'm just purely here for fun cocktail inspiration to help you on your journey. Right then, the Espresso Martini. Let's start with the basics. I'm going to make this up in my sexy new barfly cocktail shaker. I've finally got to rock these out, and I've got my new barfly jigger as well. Now, the recipe I'm going to show you here very, very quickly is one that is endorsed by most coffee liqueur brands and most vodka brands, and I think it just works. That's the reason. So equal measures, 3 ingredients. We're going for a decent coffee, decent vodka, your favourite vodka. So I'm going 30 ml of vodka. I'm going 30 ml of your coffee liqueur of choice. And we'll talk about all this in a second, but 30 ml of your coffee liqueur. And then 30 ml of your fresh espresso. There we go. We're going all posh this time. No espresso, no EX, espresso. My sinuses are cleared. So 30, 30, 30. Plenty of ice. Plenty of ice, and then we give it a good hard shake. Remember, none of this, no feeble stuff. A good hard fast shake for about 10 seconds, all right? And then when that's ready to, when it's cold, look, that's how you want it. When you can see all that condensation on the tin, that's how cold you want it, okay? And that's piping hot espresso, so proper hard fast shake. Then to serve up, we're going for a martini glass. We want to double strain as well, because we don't want any little tiny shards of ice in our martini glass. So double strain. You can see that nice kind of crema. That will settle like a pint of Guinness. 30, 30, 30 with a bit of ice from the dilution. You've got perfect in most sort of coupe or martini glasses. Sort of 6, 7, 8 ounce at a push, but 6 to sort of 7 ounce martini glass or coupes. And then the garnish for this, you know, the standard sort of garnish. We've got 3 coffee beans. Why 3? Because it signifies health, wealth, and happiness. So that is as simple as your espresso martini goes. The quality of the vodka will impact it. We'll talk about how to riff this up in a second, but that is as easy as it needs to be. And that is properly delicious. A subtle hint of sweetness coming through there. The coffee's really rich, kind of, sort of, you've got those chocolate notes coming through there. And the vodka, it just does exactly what it says on the tin. Now, let's get into the fun stuff, riffing this up. But before we do, I kind of just want to tip and nod to the coffee. Now, as I always say, look, if you've got a fresh, a proper coffee machine near you, beside you, use that, because the coffee you're going to get from that, the espresso you're going to get from a proper machine, proper beans, is always going to be better. However, if you're not near a proper machine, if you don't have one, if it's closed down, if you're in a pub or bar and the coffee machine's been turned off, do you know what? This sort of stuff is brilliant. It works a treat. That's all this is. We haven't got a coffee machine here in the studio. That is all this is. And you can see you get the proper nice crema. There is a marginal difference between the coffee, but not too much. That will satisfy the needs of most of your guests, of most of your customers. Half of them won't even tell the difference. More than half of them, 2/3, 3/4 of them won't even tell the difference. Now let's talk about the coffee liqueurs. I was going to bring Mr. Black in. I completely forgot to bring it in this morning to drink to the studio, but I can talk about this without the bottle here. There are 2 different types of coffee liqueur essentially on the market. You've got your sweetened and your virtually unsweetened. Most of you will kind of know Kahlua or Tia Maria. They will be your big 2. Most pub or bars would kind of use them. Most supermarkets sell them. They are going to be your go-to, but they are slightly sweetened, which is going to be perfectly acceptable for a lot of people that want espresso martinis. However, I always break this down. Just imagine yourselves, ask the question in the room, who takes sugar in their tea and coffees? A lot of people, like me, I don't take sugar in my coffee at all. So sometimes that is going to be too sweet, and that's where other liqueurs like Mr. Black come into the game, because Mr. Black is an unsweetened coffee liqueur. So there's absolutely zero sweetness going into that cocktail if you use products like Mr. Black. But just play around. There's no right or wrong. It's your palate that's the judge. Now, what I want you to do is go downstairs in the comments below, and I want you to type in your go-to coffee brand, whether it's Kahlua, Tia Maria, Conquer, Mr. Black, a Luna. I've got a Luna at home, coffee liqueur. It's amazing, like a coconut liqueur. Type in your go-to coffee liqueur in the comments below. And then while you're down there, if you're loving this video, if it's helping you, make sure you smash that like button, because that really helps us put this video in front of more cocktail fans. Right then, so we've got that down. We've got our base kind of espresso martini, but let's now talk about riffing this up, flipping this up, putting some smiles on people's faces, completely turning this on its head. How do we do that? Well, there's a couple of different routes I'm going to take you down for this. So to start off with, I'm going to talk about the base sort of spirit. Now, obviously the cocktail, the Espresso Martini, is a vodka-based cocktail, but it doesn't have to be. I'm going to take you back to the time when I first started bartending, 1995. It was kind of pub, bar, gastro pub, before gastro pubs were cool, but it was kind of like a gastro pub type of thing. Now, on the menu, dessert menu, the big coffees that used to go out, like Irish coffees, Parisian coffees, Jamaican coffees, and all those were Irish coffees were Irish whiskey. And you've got to think, all they are kind of like espresso martinis, really. Let's be honest. So we've got Irish coffee. You can use Irish whiskey in the base of that. Your Parisian coffees was kind of a cognac, a brandy, a French brandy. But so you can use cognac. I absolutely adore cognac in my kind of espresso martini. It just works. However, there is another even better one for me. Crossovers from my other channel will know that I'm a big rum fan. And you can take this in a couple of different ways as I destroy the bar down there. You can go plain or a decent kind of dark a sort of aged rum. I absolutely love Plantation OD in this, amazing. Or if you've got that slightly sweeter tooth, something like a spiced rum. Spiced rum, just simply swap your vodka out for your kind of your spiced rum, your Irish whiskey, your brandy, and you'll have a completely different tasting cocktail. And I promise you, the people, when I've done this on cocktail masterclasses, the people that try the rum or the brandy are converted. They absolutely love it. Now, so far, we're just talking about sort of plain spirits, if you like. You know, there's nothing kind of flavoured going on. And you guys know that I do love my flavours. So let's get into that. We're still talking about flipping the base spirit out at the moment. So the next obvious way you could go is something like a vanilla vodka. You know, any brand. I, openly and honest, I do prefer JJ Whitley because it does punch of vanilla flavour. The Absolute is much more subtle, but you do get that sort of vanilla kick coming through your cocktail. So I absolutely love that. A vanilla espresso martini, exactly the same sweetness levels. You're not adding sugar to that, so it's not going to be overly sweet. Then we take this down another little route. Here, this is slightly weaker, but it's kind of like a toffee of vodka liqueur. You've got another brand, Thunder, for example. Toffee espresso martinis are amazing. Again, not overly sweet because you are flipping out the base spirit. You're not adding sugar syrup. So if you haven't got a sweet tooth, check that out. But there's one final kind of riff, two products, but one final riff coming here. Orange. Orange and coffee works an absolute treat because especially if you've got a decent coffee with those chocolate notes coming through. So there's two different brands here. JJ Whitley, it's blood orange vodka. Absolutely love that. But then from Master of Malt online, Master of Malt, they're kind of own brands. They do the Jaffa Cake vodka, they do a Jaffa Cake rum as well, Jaffa Cake gin. You know, you could kind of go to town on that, but the kind of chocolate and orange notes in that really suit an espresso martini. And you don't have to garnish that with the espresso beans either. Think, I was going to bring it with me again, admin failure, but I've got like, I love clubs. Do you know chocolate bars, the little clubs, but an orange club, a chocolate and orange club, you could do that. If you're using toffee, you could use like a bit of honeycomb or salted sort of caramel. I'll come on to that in a second. But you don't have to garnish up with 3 coffee beans. You can do something really interesting if you wanted to. Even like a wedge of orange coated in chocolate powder. Just let your imaginations run wild. So I've lost track now, but I reckon we're up to at least 8 different riffs you can do on the espresso martini. You've got 8 at the moment. That's without getting onto the really fun stuff that we're going to hit now. Now, I just kind of really need to talk you through this because for me, if you start adding sugar syrups to your espresso martinis, you do verge on the point of it becoming too sweet. And this is where, I'm not saying you can't do it, but there's a trick to it. And this is what a lot of pubs, bars, bartenders, people miss. Still trying to work to people's palates that may be not overly sweet. So let's go for this. Let's just assume that we're going to use vodka or rum or whatever we're going to use. The thing we need to flip out here is your coffee liqueur of choice. Okay, so forget about it. It's saving you money if you want flavoured espresso martinis. You don't have to use them. It kind of works. It works exceptionally well for that. But when we're going flavoured, the emphasis really comes away from this. So just discard your coffee liqueur. Save yourselves 10, 12, 14, 16, 20 odd pounds if you're paying for Mr. Black. You don't need it, because what we're going to do, and I'm going to make another one here for you, kind of start off with, we up the ratios very, very simply. So remember, I did 30 ml, 30 ml and 30 ml, equal measures of their coffee, coffee liqueur and vodka. What we're going to do, we're now going to up this to 50 ml, double bubble. Actually, I've got a US jigger here, so I'm going to go 60 ml double bubbles. So 60 ml, okay, 60 ml of vodka. You're then going to balance it out with 60 ml of fresh espresso. Okay, so 60 and 60. Now I'm just going to put that to one side for a second, because now we're going to let our imaginations really run wild. And I'm going to take you through our favourite brands here and give you some serving suggestions. Now, if you go onto our website, drinkstuff.com, you will know full well that there are a lot of syrups to choose from and play with. So we're going to start off with Monin, probably the world's biggest sugar syrup brand. Now, they've got over 150 plus different flavours. Not all of them are going to be suited to your espresso martini. You know, some up here, pina colada, maybe, crazy. Blueberry, grapefruit, no, not really. Maybe, who knows, try it. But, you know, let's go to some of their flavours that are more suited for coffee brands. The flavours that you would expect to see in coffee shops. So, down this end, gingerbread. Gingerbread would be a kind of staple for me. It would be my second choice. There is another Monin, do another one, but I'm going to come onto it in a different brand because I haven't got the Monin version here. So this would be my second choice, gingerbread. Gingerbread espresso martinis, amazing. Muscovado sugar syrup. Which one's this? The Black Forest syrup, chocolate and cherry in espresso martini is absolutely divine. Cookie dough. Chocolate cookies. This is amazing. We're gonna that will just make a cracking one. I haven't decided which one I'm going to make yet at the end. But there, speculoos. Speculoos. Think those biscotti, Lotus biscotti biscuits that you kind of get with your coffees. That is what that tastes with. We know that works well with coffee. That's why they give those kind of biscuits out with coffees, because it's just the flavour that works. And then we've got praline syrup as well. Absolutely amazing. Now, before I jump onto another brand, I just want to point out the measurements. Obviously, we've upped the vodka, we've upped the coffee, the espresso in there. So we've gone 50 and 50. The reason we've done that is because you really do not need too much of this syrup. 10 to 15 ml maximum. 25 ml will be for the absolute sweet tooths amongst you, the people that take 2, 3, 4 sugars in their coffee. But those of you that don't take sugar in your coffee, or maybe just one, 10 to 15 ml is absolutely going to make an amazing espresso martini without it being too sweet, because remember, we've upped, I don't know why I'm pointing to that, we've upped the vodka and we've upped the coffee. So after that, I reckon we're up to about 14, 15 different flavours of espresso martini you could do for there. Let's swap over to another of my favourite brands, William Fox. Again, I think Drinkstuff, for drinkstuff.com, I think we have 65 flavours listed from my mate George. Again, some of them will be fruit-based and not ideal for an espresso martini, like rose maybe. What other flavours have we got up here? Mango, cherry blossom, cream soda, potentially. So dandelion and burdock, not necessarily for an espresso martini, but think the kind of spices and the flavours, they will work. So the first one, without destroying my display, vanilla. Again, if you don't want to invest in a vanilla vodka, something like that. And the whole point I've missed so far is because you only, to save you money, you only need that one base ingredient. You need that one bottle of vodka or that one bottle of rum. You don't have to carry lots of different flavours when you're using syrups, because these are long life, shelf stable, a lot cheaper, 7, 8, depending on your buying prices, 7, 8, 9 pounds a bottle. If you're using 15 ml, you'll probably get 45, 50, depending, 10 to 15 ml, 45 to 50 out of a bottle. That brings that cost price down a hell of a lot against like a coffee liqueur in that sense. The espresso is costing you peanuts. What, 20, I've lost track now, but 25, 30p for a shot of espresso. Decent vodka that you're going to be pouring, if you're doing a double measure, it's going to be like £1.10, £1.20, depending what you're using. So, you know, we're up to £1.50. Like £8 divided by, 50. Again, you've made an espresso martini there for roughly let's just round out, £1.75. Okay, think how much you could sell that for. Right, let's get into flavours. I love going on little rants like this. Get onto flavours. So this salted caramel would be my first choice. And openly and honestly, Monin do one as well. As I say, I just haven't got the Monin one here. I've got the William Fox one. So salted caramel would be my first choice to put on a menu, whether it's pubs or bars, whether it's impressing people at home. Salted caramel espresso martinis are phenomenal. You could go caramel. Is that caramel? No, I haven't got it here. The ODK, yes, I have. You could go normal caramel. And I was going to showcase this in a second from ODK, but the salted little notes just pop off on salted caramel. So that would be my first choice. Gingerbread would be second. But as I say, we've got vanilla. Custard. Think custard. Custard is just a punchier vanilla flavour. So it really does bring that through in espresso martini. We've got amaretto syrup. Again, you don't have to go to the expense of 20 whatever a Disaronno is in price these days, I don't know. You can get a syrup, and again, you can bring that down to 10 to 15 mil as opposed to 25 mil in a cocktail. So they go further. We've got gingerbread. Again, that's just William Fox's. We've kind of already shown you Monin's there as well. But hazelnut espresso martinis work an absolute treat there. So we've got plenty of other inspiration. And that's without mentioning the other brand that we kind of do here as well, ODK. I'm very light on the ground. I've got plenty of the ODK purees, but not too many of the ODK syrups. So I don't think ODK have many kind of coffee syrups in that sense. But chocolate and caramel there too. I think they've got hazelnut one as well. So there's plenty of inspiration. I reckon we are well over the 20 now for espresso martini. So let's just finish this off. As I say, I was going to do a salted caramel espresso martini. So remember, I've got 50 ml of vodka, 50 ml of espresso in there. Now I'm just going for 15 ml of salted caramel syrup. And this jigger, it's just giving a nod to this jigger as well. New barfly jigger, it's kind of stepped in there, so you can kind of see, you can see it on the outside like 15, 30, 45 and 60 mil. It's kind of stepped in the inside, so you can really kind of get accurate as well. You can kind of gauge it to get your 7.5 mils as well, or your 22.5 mils. But you know me, I do like to work in ounces these days. So 60 mil, I did double bubble of vodka, 60 mil double bubble of espresso, 15 mil of syrup of your choice. And if we go back to when George came in from William Fox, he went to Sainsbury's and he brought in these lovely Lily O'Brien's discs, chocolate caramel discs to garnish with an espresso martini. That would be absolutely perfect for something like this. You don't have to do the coffee beans. You could do like a twirl, get a bar. If you're doing an orange, there we go, is another one. If you're doing like an orange vodka with this, you've got the orange twirls, you could kind of do half a twirl as a garnish. Let your imaginations run riot. Right, let's just shake this up. Again, 10 to 12 seconds, nice and hard. Look at the condensation on that, proper. And then we're just going to serve this up in another kind of coupe glass. Wrong way around, barman. There we go. Serve that up. I haven't got any salted caramel biscuits here, so I failed on that. Perfect, look at that. Just to show you the difference, so 30, 30, 30, 60, it's a slightly bigger coupe, 60, 60, 15, okay? So you could go that ratio to kind of balance it out. So, what I want you to do now, in the comments below, out of all those flavours, all of the ones I've mentioned, maybe well over 20, what espresso martinis are you going to make up this weekend, whether it's for your party, whether it's for your customers in your pub or bar? What flavour are you going to put on your menus next? And then obviously, once you've made it, take a photo of it. There's two places you could go now. You can come into our Discord and upload a photo in our Discord community there. For me to see it, there's quite a few of you doing that now, so we can see it. Or old school, you could go onto Instagram, upload it to your Instagram and then tag us in the picture. Right, what does this taste? Salted caramel espresso martini. That is properly delicious. You still don't lose that thickness, that texture, because you have got the sugar syrup in there, but that is really not that sweet. I promise you, a lot of you could get away with even more sugar syrup in there, but for me, who doesn't take sugar in their tea and coffee, that is bang on. The salted caramel vibes coming off that is delicious. So if you enjoyed this video and you want even more cocktail inspiration, then check out that video right there, because that, I think, will really help you.